Hi everybody, I'm Cindy Peck and I'm the instructor for the garment construction class at Speedy Sew here in Saginaw, Michigan. This video will tell you about the basic sewing supplies you'll need if you haven't sewn garments before. The first thing you'll need is a good pair of dressmaker's shears. Dressmaker's shears are designed for cutting fabric, so they come with different brands. This is a pair of Ginger scissors. I've had these quite a while. This is a pair of Fiskars. But what you'll see is they're about the same size. Dressmaker shears should be about 8 inches in total length, and the blade for cutting should be 4 inches long. So if you look at these little scissors, they are much too small for cutting fabric when you're cutting out a pattern. So this will be one of your first investments if you're going to sew garments. And when you choose these scissors, remember that they are only for garment sewing. Hide them from your children. You might need to put a padlock in here so that they don't use them for cutting cardboard or cutting flowers in the garden or cutting each other's hair. But they're only going to be for sewing, so you want to always preserve that. The next thing you'll need is some pins. And when people are buying pins, sometimes they're not aware that there are many different types. So if you look at these, this one here has a tiny little pin head, and these are the pins that I grew up with when I learned to sew in the 1960s. And they work very well. They're just hard to handle, and they're really, really short. This one is much longer, and I had these for a while, and I liked them because of the big T shape, but they are much thicker. If you look at this, you'll see they're much thicker and heavier, so they make a bigger hole in your fabric. Then sometimes we can find decorative pins that are thinner pins. They're small, shorter again, and they have little decorative heads, and those work well. Actually, any of these will work, but I will show you which one's my favorite. Then if we look at this one, this is a very nice long dressmaker's pin. This one has a plastic top, and so does this one. And if I rotate this, I think you can see that this looks kind of flattened and smushed in. These plastic top pins are not a good choice when you're making garments because sometimes you're going to press things with the pin in there. And if you touch an iron to this, it will melt the pin. That's what happened here. And it will get melted pin plastic all over your iron. So you don't want that. This last one is my favorite. These are glass-headed dressmaker's pins. And they are very thin and sharp, and they have glass on the end, so if you touch them with an iron, it doesn't hurt anything. So any of these pins will work. If you already have some, I don't recommend that you run out and buy something new right away. But as you make more garments, you may find you want to invest in some better pins. And the other thing that I like to use in garments is these little clips. But when you look at these clips, they're very handy when you're sewing seams. But when you're pinning a pattern to cut it out, you have to have pins. You don't want a clip. Next thing you'll need is a good seam ripper, and there's all kinds that you can buy. These are a little fancier because they have an ergonomic grip, and I like this very well when I'm doing a lot of ripping. I don't like to do a lot of ripping, but this seam ripper makes it better. Next thing you'll need for class is either a large safety pin or one of these bodkins. A bodkin is designed to grip elastic, and if you look at this little slider comes down to open the mouth, and then you can stick the elastic in here, stick the elastic in there, slide this back down, and it grips it tightly. Now I can slide this through a casing for the waistband. We'll be making an elastic waistband on the pajama pants. And the last thing that you must have is a tape measure. And the tape measure needs to be longer than the circumference of any of your body parts. So if your hip measurement is bigger than 30 inches, you'll need something bigger than a 30-inch tape measure. So make sure you have all these supplies when you come to class. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you.